Thank you, Brother Chairman. My colleague, Prime Minister, host Prime Minister of this important summit, Gaston Brown, the Premier of Anguilla, my brother Banks, and noted these ministers of government of the different islands of our region, and of course, the distinguished Secretary General of the CTU, my sister, Bernadette, and distinguished Director of the OECS, my brother Jules, who is here with us, all my sisters and brothers. First of all, let me thank my brother Gaston Brown for initiating and hosting this significant conference together with the CARICAD and CTU, because bringing us together today sends a significant message. I take this opportunity on behalf of the entire region to reiterate our support for brothers and sisters in Barbuda, Dominica, Anguilla, Turks and Caicos, the British Virgin Islands, all of the islands that have passed through the severity of the hurricanes in recent times in our region. Friends, before I begin, let me just tell you something that stuck with me a while ago while some of the presentations were being done. In 1984, when I first entered politics and became Minister of Communications, Works and Public Utilities, etc., etc., I remember attending the first CTU meeting. I think it was in Aruba. And having just returned from Washington, where I was at the academic level at the university in Washington, and noting some of the advances that was taking place, I noted how way behind that we were in the region. And I remember speaking at the first conference and talking about the necessity for moving on that platform of technology. And I remember telling the audience then about the possibility that in the next 2 decades we will be hardly using paper. Unfortunately, while we understand that was necessary, in fact, I thought it was almost seemed then like I was a crazy man speaking. But the fact is, we have passed that, although we still want to behave as we still there before. I'll speak to that. And I remember attending the first CARICOM Heads of Government when I was elected Prime Minister in 1995. I came in 1996 in Jamaica. And I look back at all the heads of government meetings at the region and never saw an item on technology and science. Imagine the regional heads of government were meeting in close to the 21st century, and we were not talking about science and technology. We were talking about all the problems that exist in the region and the simple tool that was necessary to help us to correct those fundamental problems. We were not even talking about it. Subsequently, the regional heads did ask that I take responsibility for after addressing that important issue. still far away from where we should be. And I wish to talk to some extent about that and what we ought to do. Friends, as it is still early in the year, may I also take this opportunity to wish every single one of you the best in 2017, and to make sure that we commit ourselves to regional integration by fast-tracking the use of ICTs. Just about a year ago, in Guyana, the heads of government of the CARICOM community approved the vision and roadmap for the CARICOM single ICT space. The vision for that space is an ICT-enabled, borderless space that fosters economic, social, and cultural integration for the betterment of our Caribbean citizens. And I think it's important to state, for the betterment, to re-emphasize this, the betterment of our Caribbean brothers and sisters. This roadmap very clearly identifies the crucial role that regional governments must play in the implementation of the CARICOM single ICT space. In other words, without our leadership, we will set our people continued further backwards. Further, in July of last year, the heads of government in Grenada, the high-level work plan for the single ICT space was also approved at our heads of government meeting. It confirmed that the CARICOM single ICT space is indeed a complex undertaking, and making it a reality requires commitments, leadership, and resolve. It is our collective responsibility, friends, to ensure that a single ICT space becomes a reality for our region. We literally have no choice. As leaders, we must lead the process. Brother Gaston and Brother Banks, those who are following us. That's our responsibility. If we don't, then we would be failing our children and grandchildren. We must use our power, and the power we have is about people, not ours, to make the paradigm shift, to break from our traditional mindsets, practices, and methods of engaging our citizens. We must embrace information and communication technologies to transform and make the relationship between government and our citizens more effective and efficient. The roadmap projects that the provision of e-government services will accelerate in 2019. The 21st Century Government Initiative, conceived by CTU and supported by CARICAD, as enshrined in the regional e-government strategy, will accomplish this goal using this important ICT technologies. And it will do the following. It is going to enhance the delivery, the quality, adoption, and usage of government services. I think all leaders can claim to want otherwise. It's going to provide our citizens with quality government information and allow the active participation in public policy development and feedback processes. It's also going to help us to realize organizational transformation, cost efficiencies, and seamless interaction within government. And lastly, among other things, to strengthen economic competitiveness and the ease of doing business, something which all of us would want to see. The question is, why are we not moving faster? The 21st century government will be citizens-centric. and characterized by open, interactive, and efficient processes. It will make effective use of the technologies to enable governments to deliver services to all its citizens. With the adoption of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, something all of us have signed on to, the global community embarked on an unprecedented endeavor to transform our world. Our region, therefore, must be actively involved in this transformational processes, or we'll get left behind. Our region, therefore, must not fail to do so. To fail to do so will jeopardize our chances of sharing in a new global information and data economy. The United Nations report on e-government in support of sustainable development states, and I quote, "The 2030 agenda is centered on a set of far-reaching and people-centered universal sustainable development goals called SDGs. Reaching these goals in all countries and creating peaceful, just, and inclusive societies will be extremely difficult in the absence of effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions. Institutions need to be capable and equipped to adapt the agenda to the national situations." I continue quoting. "They need to be able to mobilize the society and the private sector in implementing the SDGs. Capacities and information will be required to promote policy integration, enhance public accountability, promote participation for more inclusive societies, as well as to ensure equitable and effective public service for all. Particularly, sisters and brothers, for the poorest and most vulnerable groups in our societies. ICT and e-government, therefore, are important tools to realize those objectives," unquote. To accomplish these objectives, my dear sisters and brothers, the Caribbean must abandon the traditional approach to the adoption of ICT, which includes e-government. We must move forward urgently towards the provision of an integrated public services online through one-stop platforms and other delivery channels that allow access to the full range of public services. We must have a platform that is capable of seamless delivery of services in a customer-friendly atmosphere. For ICTs to truly transform the public sector into an instrument of sustainable development, efficiency in service delivery must be coupled with social equity and ensuring that all people can access quality services. This approach, my friends, requires leadership from the highest level in our governments. The Prime Minister or President's office, supported by the ministers of ICT, must be conductors that make this orchestration happen. Estonia, Georgia, South Korea, example of countries that have successfully embraced innovation and use ICT to deliver services and engage citizens in a decision-making processes. There is no wonder, sisters and brothers, these societies have gone way ahead of ours. And basically, we should almost feel ashamed of ourselves for where we are today compared to those countries who had far more problems historically than we had. But we just have to say, as the people say, better late than never. We'll hear about some of those experiences in this summit and have a clearer understanding of the critical importance of the CARICOM Single ICT Space Initiative and the link to the significant opportunities that the 21st century government holds for this engagement for citizens and for sustainable national and regional development. Brothers and sisters, I firmly believe that we in the Caribbean can achieve what those in other countries have achieved. However, to do so will require government's unwavering commitment to courageous leadership, creativity, and innovation. It will also require far-sighted and holistic decision-making and planning. Far-sighted and holistic decision-making. We, as leaders, have to examine ourselves. It would also require planning at all levels. And we need all hands on deck. For this, politicians, academics, business, entrepreneurs, visionaries, trade unions, non-governmental communities, diplomats, as well as the support of other governments across the world. An OECD report on global trends, sisters and brothers, published last February suggests the following 4 recommendations for governments to maximize the potential for innovation. And they are as follows. 1, to signal innovation as a priority. 2, enable connections across and beyond government. 3, promote trust through transparency and responsiveness. 4, forge partnerships with all relevant players. Efforts to promote whole-of-government service delivery and policies have to be accompanied with serious interrogation of these recommendations, combined with efforts to ensure that organizational cultures, coordination mechanisms, and financial and accountable systems are re-engineered urgently. We must always be willing, sisters and brothers, to ask and answer the hard questions. Why? Or what if? To remove the difficulties of transacting business with government is so critical. As are our citizens happy, healthy, and connected physically and electronically? As a community, could we answer that question? I repeat. Are our citizens happy, healthy, and connected physically and electronically? As a community, I ask myself, and I ask all of us those questions. Do they have access to opportunities and resources for a lifetime of learning and growth? Do they feel empowered to make change in their own countries or regions? And can they do this from wherever they wish? Do we still have to go to New York and Washington and Toronto and London to seek opportunities? I went there. I wouldn't be here to do it if I did not go. We had no choice. Do we want to have our citizens when others are saying, stay where you are, don't come to my country? The message is low. Make this one great again. All of us have to be great again, right? Right, Victor? All of us. What a world. Do we as heads of government champion participatory decision-making? Is the local economy designed to help citizens achieve those goals? Can other governments and regional and international organizations communicate with us easily and efficiently? Does the private sector find it easy to conduct business in our own countries? I can tell you no, for mine. We have a long way to go. Imagine the impact on productivity if citizens and businesses are able to transact routine business from the comfort of their homes and business places. Do we need large offices for people to go and sit and sometimes do nothing all day? Do we really need that? And every day you build another building, government building, they're asking for more buildings again and again and again. Everybody wants almost a living room for an office. Their house, a bed, someone bed. We're going back. We're going back. When I talk about this, I talk like that home, and they think I'm a madman sometimes when I speak. Someone says, why you want this office? I wish you cut my office in 3 and give some other people some. Just give me the equipment. Give me the equipment, and I'll be happy. But everybody wants, the bigger you are, the higher the position, the bigger the office. And sometimes the bigger the office, is less being done there. Sisters and brothers, we have to tap into the power of data. As per the Economist magazine said, data is the new oil. That's a fact. If you have oil and gas, then you have money. Data is money, sisters and brothers. That's the new oil. Recently, as heads of government, we approved a regional statistical action plan. But that's important. These two must be linked with the work and involving to a 21st century government and the single ICT space. Statistics, it's about data. Data is about our present or future. In the past, we're making decisions at government. I've been there. Guesswork. In cricketing terms, we're whooping. And we just hope at the end that the thing turn out right. Well, if the data and the base for action is flawed, only miracle you're looking for, you know. And God will always give us miracles. Sisters and brothers, this too must be linked with the work on evolving the 21st century government. McKinsey and company in their research paper on digital transformation in the public sector suggest that there are 5 core tasks that national governments should perform to facilitate the launch and uptake of digital public services. The 5 core tasks as follows. 1, set a clear digital strategy and targets. 2, provide common IT platforms, enable electronic identification, easy access to information, and seamless data exchange across public sector institutions. Define technical standards, facilitate change through legislation, incubate pilot projects, and build critical skills. But if you fear your power base would be eroded, you won't do those things, you know. You got to be able to only fear one thing, your own lack of effort and vision. We have to understand, the more we open, the better for us. All of us, politicians. Not by coincidence, the vision roadmap and work plan for the CARICOM single ICT space, also identifies these 5 core tasks. As governments, our core responsibility is to serve the citizens well. I'm always clear about this. Whether it's in government or opposition, I've always been clear. As I said, I've been it since 1984. I lost 2 elections. I shouldn't say lost. I got some sabbatical twice. So, I understand. I've been head of government for 18 years now and counting. So, Gaston, you have a long way to go. My friends, so serving our citizens well, that's a responsibility, includes creating opportunities for our citizens to improve the quality of their lives and to ensure that our social and economic development is sustainable, and forces governments to be innovative and provide a leadership to keep pace with the rest of the world. Let us therefore commit to becoming the 21st century governments, all of us. Even as we commit, we must be practical and honest. 21st century governments cannot be built on 19th century or earlier processes. ideals, financing, and infrastructure and behavior patterns. As heads of CARICOM states, we have to provide a leadership that will transform our region. That is our fundamental responsibility. We must lead while innovating. The complexities of the task or the resource requirements for accelerating our progress must not daunt us. Financing is always foremost on our minds, most times rightly so. But let us commit to explore the alternative financing vehicles collectively. We must ensure current economic settings are improved to support the plans of the region. We must institute practices which help to stem wastage and leakages in our government spending and practices. I am telling you as the head of government, I would say 40% of the country's resources are wasted by corrupt practices, not always among politicians, but a lot inside the public service that we serve. But the politicians are the only ones that get licks, and we have a right to get licks for corrupt practices, but they are much more occurring. The ICT space, the security of the system that we have will in fact protect us, the politicians, and the people, and the resources of the people. My friends, fixing this, which only governments can do, would direct far, far more money and resources into development of ICT programs. So don't tell us, as heads, we cannot tell ourselves that we don't have the money. The money is there. We make commitment and waste money and all sorts of stupidness that has no place in the 21st century because maybe it fits our little ego. Fits our ego to have the grandeur plans and the grand big buildings and so on. Makes us look good. But what really makes our success? We're talking about not having the money for this ICT. One example we will hear about in the coming days will be the CTU's modified SUSU mechanism. I like SUSU because I used to be in that. The only problem is you pay your SUSU and the other fella get he pick first and he don't come up with his. So usually the fight starts. But I hope we won't have to do that within the CARICOM family. Let's get into the SUSU business, invest serious monies into ICT plan. I believe the region would be well served if, at the very least, we all can commit and do everything possible to provide a single entry portal on public information and online services in all our countries by the end of 2018. I think we can do it. This will result immediately in more efficient use of our scarce resources, both financial and human, in our pursuit of the 21st century e-government services. Colleagues, let us move with resolve to embark on this journey towards the 21st century government. I have no doubt that the revolution we are privileged to be part of, if we wish to be, will benefit humanity and help the planet which sustains us all. This revolution could mean more income and more wealth as the myriad of new or enhanced services and products enabled by the new technologies in all aspects of our lives that will transform our economy if we plan well and act accordingly. Progress, sisters and brothers, improves lives. And we could not hold back these life-changing new technologies, even if we wanted to. Our citizens would be happy and proud if we as leaders understand this important initiative. I conclude by imploring all of us here and those online to channel your passion, your vision, and hard work into making the CARICOM ICT space, single ICT space, a reality. Sisters and brothers, I would have loved to be here with you for the entire session today. Nothing would please me more. In fact, just being here takes me from an important exercise. This is the hunting season hunting season for politicians of my level. In fact, on the 28th of this month, I make the call for the new general elections in our country. As I told them, I go right back into my own constituency to make that call. So to be here was a virtually potent sacrifice. But I could not miss this call from my brother and from the rest of the region. Bernadette and others who are working so hard, sometimes were not enough gratitude, not enough understanding of that sacrifice that you're making and others like you. I hope and pray that we all, as leaders, could come to terms with this and to give you all the support that you need, not for ourselves, not for you, but for our children and our grandchildren's future. I wish everyone a productive and transformative conference, as I also take the opportunity to welcome my brother from St. Kitts, because when I came here, I didn't see you. I got very worried I was going to take a flight and come down and pick you up. It's good to have him here. Sisters and brothers, make this a special conference. Thank you all, and we wish you the best.